You're going to love this interview. Just got done editing it. I'm glad I got it live for you. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes hanging out, answering any questions you have. In fact, leave a comment below about data points or what you think is going to happen to the company, and I will respond to every comment. Additionally, if you're just loving the content, click the thumbs up and I will go and check out your profile as well and give your videos some love as well. In the meantime, enjoy the interview. Hello, everyone. My guest today is Prayag Narula. He's the founder and executive chairman of LeadGenius, a customized B2B contact and company data company. Before founding LeadGenius in 2011, he worked at Finland's top research institute as an expert in ubiquitous interaction and built mobile applications and embedded systems in Delhi's startup scene. He's the author of several book chapters and papers on human-computer interaction, computer networks, and network security. Prayag, you ready to take us to the top?
I'm excited.
All right, very good. So tell us what LeadGenius is doing and what's your revenue model? Are you pure play SaaS?
Yes, so it's a SaaS-based revenue model. What we do is we help large-scale sales and marketing companies manage their sales and marketing data. So if you're a large company, you have a ton of sales and marketing data that you're managing, and we come in and we do that for you.
Okay, so I mean, it's a manual process or it's SaaS? You're using machine learning, AI, et cetera?
Yes, so it's a SaaS model. We use a combination of AI, but then we augment it with what we call crowdsourcing. That's my research area from Berkeley coming into picture. So we augment AI with actual human intelligence to solve our customers' problems.
So Prayag, I'm sure you have a huge range here, but for the sake of our time constraints today, what would you say that the sweet spot is for you? So on average, what's the company going to pay you per year to use your technology?
As you said, it is a big range, but I think on the low end, anywhere between $2,000 to $3,000 a month. On a high end, so that becomes like $30,000-$40,000 a year. On the high end, which a lot of our customers could be high six figures and even seven figure contracts.
Okay, if I did though force you into kind of a sweet spot though, I mean, is $10,000 a month, $120,000 a year kind of a sweet spot?
I think $5,000 to $10,000 a month, or $7,000 to $10,000 a month is probably.
Okay, fair enough. So let's dive into that use case. So someone that comes in is paying you $7,000 per month. What are they getting for that? Is it based off number of leads you're analyzing, or what are the things you price against?
Yeah, so it's the amount of data that we manage for you, right? And it usually is based on amount of data you have or the amount of data you need, which directly relates to what is the size of the sales team you have, how much marketing campaigns you're running, and so on and so forth. So so since these contracts that we're talking about, $5,000-$7,000, they're like high five figures. We'll do some sort of a custom pricing, and we'll come up with a pricing that actually makes sense to you based on your need. We hate overselling, so typically it will be based on your requirement.
Okay, and what year did you found the company in?
The company was founded in 2011. The product, incidentally, came to market in about 2013.
Okay, so as you were building the product in 2011 and 2013, was the first line of code in 2011?
Yes.
Okay, and the first sale was 2013?
Yes, that's
okay. Correct. How much did you guys sink into the business, right, building your MVP in terms of how much cash it took you to build?
So we were graduate students. So it was three of us, and then there was one other that we had hired. And so it was probably about a few $100,000, like $200,000 or $300,000, but it wasn't that much.
Okay,
especially in the VC terms, it wasn't that much.
Well, yes, you guys were students, right? So where'd you get $300,000 from? Did you raise on day one? Prayag, so you guys were students. Where'd you get $300,000 from? Did you raise on day one?
No, so we got some money from Y Combinator. So we had this idea. So we raised some grant money, which was not enough, but it was like, a few $1,000s that kept us going while we were in graduate school. And then we joined an incubator called Y Combinator. They again gave us, 10, 15 grand. Not enough, but kept us going for another few months. And then we raised some money from some small investors.
Okay. So to date, how much total into the company?
We've raised about $25 million.
Okay, so why did you need to raise that much and take all that dilution? Why do you need so much cash to build this?
It's a very competitive market, and we have been investing a lot in growth. So cost of acquisition of customers is high. We are doing some interesting stuff in technology that has never been done before, especially this idea of actual human interacting embedded into technology, not as a services field, but actually embedded into the technology that came out, again, our research at Berkeley, requires a bunch of, good high-tech, good engineering team to build. So mostly it's to acquire customers and to build technology.
Okay, so you mentioned CAC as you were talking about your costs, right? So to get a new $7,000 a month account or $84,000 first year ACV, how much will you spend up front to get that customer?
Good. I think $25,000 is probably something we'll spend. Yeah.
Okay, that's not a bad CAC at all. That's a payback period of like 3 or 4 months. Most people in this market, they're looking at 12 to 18 month payback periods.
Right, but remember, like when you say most people, their ACVs are probably like smaller than ours. So it's a lot more, in a lot more transactional model. 12 months is a lot more common, but in more quote unquote enterprise sales, 6 months is pretty common.
Now, I would actually argue the opposite. On smaller transactional sales, payback period is typically shorter. On big enterprise accounts that are usually stickier, you have a longer lifetime value, so you can validate a higher CAC. So you're willing to pay first month ACV or 2 years of first year contract value and second year contract.
So it's because it's a cash flow situation, right? Like if the customer is paying you, if a customer is paying you, say, $5,000-$6,000 a month, the CAC can be in high to mid to high five figures. You can pay $25,000, $30,000, $35,000. If you are a transactional business, you're probably spending, anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000, but the customer is paying you, a few $100s a month. So, but
where do you get that data from? Sorry, I've never heard of a ratio like that. Who are you citing there? Where are you getting that data from?
I'm citing it on top of my head. So this is not the right data, or at least not the cited data. But,
I'm just arguing you've raised so much. I'm trying to figure out why you're not being more aggressive on CAC. If I was in your shoes and your churn was low and you've raised $25 million so you can bridge a cash gap, I'd be spending 1 to 2 months of lifetime value. Sorry, 1 to 2 years of lifetime value to get a customer, which in your case would be $80,000 to $160,000 to get a customer.
$80,000 to $100,000. So how many customers can we raise after spending? I mean, how many customers can we raise based on? Remember, this $25 million is not being raised it's raised over 6-7 years, right? So 6 years. How many customers can we raise? Say last round was 13 million. That should last us, say, 2 to 3 years. If say $100,000, how many customers can we acquire?
That's a question for you, not me.
Right. So there's a limited number of customers, right? There's a limited number of customers that you can acquire. Sometimes we are aggressive, but honestly, like $25,000, $30,000 is pretty high for a CAC.
But CAC in itself, though, is not, in my opinion, CAC in itself is not relevant. CAC relative to how much cash you get from the customer in the first year is what's relevant. So I guess what I'm hearing you say is you feel like you're being aggressive at a 4-month payback period. You pay $25,000 to get a $7,000 a month customer. You get paid back in 4 months. You feel like you are being aggressive on CAC.
I think we're aggressive on CAC because honestly, like a cost to acquiring a $30,000, that's a lot to pay for an app, and that's an average customer, right? Like half of them are going to pay us over a lot longer, right? So and sometimes, honestly, like $7,000. So here's one thing that I probably didn't make myself clear on. It's $7,000. It's not $7,000 off the bat. It will start at a much lower rate, and say $2,000 to $3,000, and then it will increase as the customers expand.
So what is average first year? What is average first year ACV? 20 or 30,000?
Yeah, somewhere around that.
Okay, so if you're spending $25,000 to get a $25,000,
probably like more, but yeah. So so 30 to 40,000 $30,000 to $40,000.
Yeah. So Prayag, if you're spending 25 grand to get a $30,000 customer, your payback is about a year.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
In the first year, though, right? Yes.
Well, yeah, that's when CAC is spent on day zero. So all you care, I mean, of course it's the first year. That's how you would how you calculate profitability on the sale.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right. Let's get off that for a second. It's helpful to understand that though. So help me understand what the team looks like today. How many folks on the team?
We have about 60 odd people around the world.
60?
Yeah.
How many engineers?
About a product team of about 15 people.
Okay. And do you have any quota carrying reps or no?
We do have quota carrying reps. Yeah. We have a sales team of about 10, 15-ish people also.
Okay. And they all carry a quota?
Not all of them carry a quota. Well, not all of them carry a quota in dollars.
What do you mean by that?
Some quota carriers have number of opportunities that they need to build, and some quota carriers have, they are based on active. So we have part of our sales team is kind of managing some sort of the delivery. So that includes renewals. So their quota would be based on how many renewals, how much upgrade, so on and so forth.
Okay, fair enough. Let's go back to day one. So 2011, you're coding. 2013, you get it out to market. You spend 200, 300 grand to build the MVP. Do you remember that beautiful first sale? Who was it to, and how'd you get them?
So, businesses are not straightforward, right? So our first sale, which we made, was not for LeadGenius. It was for a very different product that we were building. That happened. So we initially built the technology first, and we licensed the technology to anyone who wants to use it, right? Whether it's sales and marketing, whether it's finance, whether it's something else, they chose. And as we built the technology, we thought the technology itself was going to sell itself. So the first sale and the first few sales we made was kind of providing the technology directly through an API. That was already I think it was the end of 2011. There was some Australian company that bought our product for $6,000 for 3 months, I think.
Okay. And then fast forward to today, how many customers are you serving?
About 250 customers or so.
Okay, 250.
Yeah.
And when you look at kind of your growth trajectory, so over the past 12 months, is most of your growth coming from upselling older customers or adding new customers altogether?
I think upsell is a big part of our growth. I would say, 30 to 40% probably comes from upsell, if not more.
Okay, that's pretty good. Now, can I do this math? You told us earlier, kind of ARPU average was, call it $7,000 a month across 250 customers. That would put you at like 1.7 million a month in revenue. Is that right?
No, I don't think that's. We are about half of that.
Okay, so then ARPU is more like $3,500 per month across 250 customers.
Across 250 customers, yes, but across a target segment, which is more mid-market and enterprise, that's where we spend. All our CAC is spent on acquiring those customers.
Fair enough. Okay, so monthly revenue today is more like $800,000 a month, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, and if that's the case, where were you about a year ago? Do you remember?
We're about, I think we were doing like 600K, somewhere around that, 600K.
Okay. So if you were at 600K, obviously going up to 800 is fine for like a growth at like a bootstrap company, but for a venture-backed company, it's not great growth. Why aren't you growing faster?
I think we have pivoted our business model from supplying primarily to SMBs and now supplying to moving kind of entire go-to-market from selling to SMB to selling to mid-market and enterprise. So we have seen a lot more growth in our mid-market and enterprise customers. That's kind of where our mindset is. So that growth is a lot better. But in that, when you stop focusing on part of the market, that market kind of either goes away or at least the growth slows down.
So Prayag, your logo churn then might be pretty high because you're churning off cheaper customers, but your revenue churn should still be pretty healthy. So if you look at gross revenue churn over the past 12 months, what would you pin that at?
Things like the revenue churn?
Gross revenue churn, yeah.
Gross revenue churn. I don't know, man. Like, I don't have those numbers at the top of my head, but like 70%, 30%.
Yeah. Okay.
So
And
rate,
does the expansion revenue more than make up that 30% whole?
makes up for most of it,
Okay.
if not all of it.
So when would you think you can get to the point where you're at 100% net revenue retention? It sounds like you're flirting with it right now.
Yes. Oh, hopefully by early next year.
Okay. That's pretty good. That's good. All right. Last question here before we wrap up. Boards. How do you manage your board? So is it 5, 7 people?
Yeah. So we have a 4-person board, four voting people and 2 observers. So 6-person board. Board is there to help you, right? So one of the things that I've learned is always be honest with your board. Just tell them what it's like, especially like be upfront in the bad news. Don't try to hide anything, because boards usually, especially professional boards, would not like surprises. So don't surprise the board would be kind of my mantra to manage the board.
And I assume you probably do this like quarterly or something. When's your next board meeting?
Yeah, we do. So we just wrapped up one 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. So next would be next quarter. I don't know if we have time on the calendar. We don't have a recurring board meeting. We should probably do that, but we basically set it up every quarter, beginning of the quarter.
Yep. Okay, good. So next one might be like right before the holidays or something.
Right. So it'll probably be like middle of October.
Oh, middle October. So you do one every like 2 months then, 1 or 2 months if you just finished one.
No, it's the timing thing, because like the first one we had to delay it because people were on summer vacations.
Got it.
So we had to, we couldn't do it for the times that we wanted. So that got delayed. So next one, but we would want it to get back on track.
And Prayag, last question here before we wrap up with a famous 5. How aggressive are you being with burn? I mean, are you cool burning 300, 400 grand a month, or what are you guys at?
No. I think our burn is a lot lower than that. It's probably like half of what you're mentioning, even less than that. We are cognizant of our burn, especially when you're not growing at 100%. You need to keep your burn under control. So that's what we've been doing. So now, but we are slowly accelerating that to bring the growth. As we are seeing a lot more traction in enterprise and mid-market, large customers, we're going to spend a lot more money there. So projection is that might go up.
Okay, but right now it sounds like it's about 100K a month, something like that.
A little over that, somewhere between 100 to 200. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Let's wrap up with the famous 5. Number 1, favorite business book.
Hard Things About Hard Things, Ben Horowitz.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
CEO I'm following on studying, Adam Levy, Bob.
Number 3, what is your favorite online tool for building your company?
Online tool for building my company. Any open source tool out there.
Pick one.
Django. Python Django.
Django. Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
6 hours.
And what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
Married with kids.
How many kiddos?
1 kid.
One?
1 kid.
And how old are you?
I am 35.
35. Take us home. Last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
You can always ask and aspire for more than you think you can.
Guys, always go for more. Founded and started writing the code in 2011. They spent about 200, 300 grand on the MVP, got their first paying customer in 2013. Now today, serving about 250 customers at about $3,000, $4,000 per month, doing $800,000 per month in revenue, up from, call it, $600,000 per month just a year ago. So about 50% year over year growth. They've raised $25 million to grow this company. Again, really enriching and helping people understand what their leads look like, what the email addresses are, keeping their data in the CRMs accurate as they look to continue to scale. Prayag, thank you for taking us to the top.
Thanks, Dan.
You guys know I fight like heck to get these data points for you from these CEOs that rarely do these kinds of shows. If you want more shows like this, make sure you subscribe right now. We're trying to get 10,000 YouTube subscribers by the end of September here, 2019. And it would mean the world to me if you clicked now to subscribe. Additionally, I've got 2 more great interviews for you. If you want more data points from the world's leading SaaS CEOs, click and watch one of them right now.